You hear it every election season. Politicians warning that we must save our democracy. But here's the problem. The United States was never designed to be one. Our founders knew that pure democracy leads to chaos, mob rule, not moral rule. That's why they gave us something far more stable, a constitutional republic, a nation built on law, not emotion, on rights that come from God, not from the government. In this 5-minute fact, we'll explain why confusing the two isn't just a political mistake, it's a historical and spiritual one. Before we unpack what our founders actually said, let's take a look at how this phrase, threat to our democracy, is being used today. You've probably heard it more times than you can count.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 So when you hear that familiar warning, our democracy is under threat, it's worth asking, what democracy? Because according to the men who built this nation, democracy was never the goal. You'll hear politicians constantly talk about saving our democracy in the United States. However, the United States is not a democracy and never was. James Madison said, democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, incompatible with personal security or the rights of property. John Adams, our second president, said, remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. And Thomas Jefferson, the man that penned our Declaration, and our third president, said, a democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people can take away the rights of the other 49. Democracy is mobocracy. Who cares about right or wrong? Whatever 50.1% of the people vote to do becomes the law. If you can convince the majority to take the rights or the money or the property of the minority, that's not justice, that's mob rule. In fact, the trial of Jesus is a perfect example of mob rule. A murderer named Barabbas was set free. An innocent man named Jesus was crucified. And the majority voted to do it that way. Well, that may have been a democratic vote, but it was not right or lawful. Our founders gave us a constitutional republic. That means that the government is formed or constituted by the people who define what it can or cannot do in the Constitution. The people delegate specific limited powers to the government, and they can do no more or no less. Rather than all of us voting on every issue, we elect representatives to act on our behalf. Hence, we are a representative republic. But we do elect those representatives through the democratic process. There is a written rule of law that binds the government. The Constitution doesn't give us rights. God does. A constitutional republic restrains and limits the governmental power while guaranteeing and safeguarding individual God-given rights. So even if 99% of the voters decide to take away all the wealth of the remaining 1%, they couldn't do it because it would violate both God's law and our Constitution. So the next time you hear someone in the media or some politician warn us that we're losing democracy, remember what the founders might say. Good, because we were never supposed to be one. Think about it. If you enjoyed today's 5-minute fact, then like, subscribe, or ring the bell and share this video so your friends won't miss the next edition of 5 Minute Facts.
This broadcast is made possible by the friends and partners of LibertyNetwork.live. We thank you for your support.